What's up, world? Summit Fitness coming at you. We got another video here in the making. I'm talking about the calisthenics and the kettlebell setup. How you gonna train these two magnificent wonders of convenience to pretty much to your liking. So I got my little 18 kilogram kettlebell over here, 39 pounds, and don't make fun of it because it's purple. It still works really good. And I got the gymnastic rings here. Two main staples of my training so far, especially these days, because I just enjoy the freedom. I enjoy physical freedom. Part of Summit Fitness is literally, the liberation of knowing that you can achieve your best potential, your higher self, the best version of your health through physical fitness. And that also means having some physical liberty away from the dogmatic approaches of what we see on the internet and things of that nature. I'm also a fan of minimalism. These things don't take up a lot of space. I also like to get my training in and out, sometimes very quickly if I have to, if I'm in a rush. If I'm training with clients or I'm, operating the gym, whatever I'm doing, I like to get my training in and out as fast as possible, which is the main benefits of kettlebells and bodyweight training overall. It can literally, happen almost anywhere. With that said, we may be wanting to know calisthenics and kettlebells, how can we pretty much make them work together, and the cross carryovers. Truth be told, this conversation is more about how the kettlebells transfer into your calisthenic setup. So, right here, these are all my calisthenic bodyweight movements, and these are all my kettlebell movements. The beautiful thing about kettlebell training is you do not have to stray yourself away from 1,000 different variations that we see out there in the internet. Okay? When I took my studies with IKFF, Steve Cotter, the International Kettlebell Fitness Federation, that was pretty much on the basis pillar of squats, kettlebell swings, kettlebell presses, kettlebell cleans, and snatches. You also learn the jerk. That's about maybe 5-7 patterns around there, right? We are only focused on the swings, Turkish get-ups, cleans, the squats, and the press variation, which is all the way down here. But I'll explain all of this in a minute. You pretty much have 5 patterns that you really want to pay attention to, and that they are not that technically profound. Okay, first and foremost, push-ups are definitely affected well by the swings, whether this is two-handed or one arm, or a majority of other variations out there. But right now we're talking about a two-handed swing with the kettlebell and a one-handed swing. The crossover to this is fantastic. I had a video where I was talking about club bells, bodyweight, and kettlebells, and I talked about a program that I was running. I ran that program, and one of my goals was to get multiple reps on the one-arm push-up. The push-up, not just the push-up, but all of its push patterns, or HSPU, which is handstand push-ups. We're talking about the patterns here of all these things, the patterns, not just the regular push-up, but its other variations as well, okay? I had a goal of doing one-arm push-ups, and I wanted to get as many reps as I possibly could. When I started off, I was doing maybe a good 10. Incorporating one-arm swings and two-handed swings skyrocketed my one-arm push-ups beyond belief. Here is why. Swings and one-arm swings train the frontal plane. They also train the rotary plane, the oblique chain. When you go one arm, unilateral, with pretty much any kettlebell movement, okay, your other half of your body needs to fight against the resistance of that kettlebell, either swinging you apart or tearing you in half, because you need to constantly fire your core in all forms of directions, especially when you do the one-arm swing. The one-arm swing trains everything that the two-handed swing does, but it also gets the oblique chain, lateral flexion, rotary stability, all that other good stuff, which is something you need to resist when you are going for one-arm push-ups. Because when you go for the one-arm push-up, or even a side plank for that matter, part of your body needs to fight the resistance of the rotation that's going on, okay? Handstand push-ups and Turkish get-up. This is a bit of a no-brainer. If you don't know what Turkish get-ups are, this is pretty much an all-around core shoulder activator, which also does affect your push-up. Turkish get-ups, I like using them as a warm-up to prime myself or to warm my body up for things like handstand push-ups and push-ups. These swings also serve as a great warm-up. For me, kettlebell training is to amplify my calisthenics, okay? So most of the time, my priority is all calisthenic based, and kettlebells are my accessory lifts, and they support it. Are there days that I have a kettlebell only day? Yes, there is. So, why do these two are so important? Because they just activate everything that is probably lacking, or that you could just be getting more from your calisthenic training. They just support things very, very well. And if you're not a gymnast, and if you don't have all that background in training, or even being a yoga, if you're just a regular guy who wants to get very strong, healthy, the best way possible without having to have too much of a learning curve, you know, getting yourself a supporting system like kettlebells to support your bodyweight training is amazing. And bodyweight training to support kettlebells. Second, pull-ups and rows. The pull patterns: vertical pull, horizontal pull. You want to have, you pair this with your cleans, okay? Cleans pretty much start involving a bit of a pull movement, because you have to, you hike the kettlebell between your legs, and then you're going to pull it and rack it into the shelf position. That gets your posterior chain nicely. Rear delts, hamstrings, a bit of the lower back. To me, I have found great strides in this being a great activator or a great carryover, once again, to my pull-ups. One-arm pull-ups is what I'm doing, one-arm chin-ups, one-arm rows, front lever rows, rows with two arms, rows with one arm, etc., etc. And once again, the unilateral aspect, just like I mentioned before, cross-body stabilization. When you work with one arm, one side of your body needs to resist the kettlebell from taking you over, from contracting and fighting. It's just so important to do that. And you go bilateral as well for just, maximum amount of power that you can get. So for me, if I'm doing a one-arm clean with 26 kilos, that's 57 pounds, versus doing it with bilateral with two kettlebells, and that's 26 kilos, we're talking about 114 pounds that are on there, It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice when you start doing bilateral. You can really, really feel just everything turning on, okay? It's amazing stuff. Next, squats. Squats, bridges, and hamstring curls in the bodyweight world have fantastic, pairmanship with goblet squats, front rack squats, whether if it's unilateral or holding two kettlebells in the front rack position. Fantastic stuff. Your squats will become a heck of a lot deeper by just doing goblet squats alone. Your ankles, your hips, your core overall just becomes, I don't want to use the word bulletproof, but you really just feel like you have a suit of armor. And when you start doing your bodyweight training, even like your pistol squats, for example, or your shrimp squats, you will notice they carry over tremendously. Not even practicing pistol squats, you can just be doing goblet squats and front rack squats, and I guarantee you, if you attempt doing some pistols every now and then, you'll feel a smooth descent happening more and more. Of course, you have to practice some of the moves itself, but you will come to realize that you will be very, very astonished and surprised at how much goblet squats and front rack squats give magic to regular bodyweight squats, and there's variations, as well as your bridges and hamstring curls, because this is part of your posterior chain. And when the posterior chain, the backside of your body, is pretty much like welded together, with goblet squats and front rack squats, it's just good stuff. Dead stop swings, dead stop cleans. This literally means no momentum. You're having the bell from the floor, and you pretty much are going to be, you have to demonstrate this movement to speak from it, but with no momentum, you're essentially doing swings and cleans. These are great because from a dead stop position with no momentum, you are generating as much power as you can from your hamstrings, from your posterior chain, which all pretty much, again, ties everything together. Bodyweight training and kettlebells, there is never not one thing working. Majority of your body is always working. And what I want to mention is, if you're training barefoot or minimalist shoes, the arches of your feet need to continue wedging onto the floor, hence contracting, becoming stronger, improving in mobility. And if you have issues with, getting deep into squats, try doing all your kettlebell movements barefoot, as well as of course, your body weight training. The other thing also is bridges and hamstring curl variations have tremendous effect on making your squats a lot better. Preferably, I love to do bridges and hamstring curl work, sometimes a swing or two, before I focus on pistol squat training, because your body just knows what it has to do, and you have to feel it and do it. But these again are just great activators, I want to say, for what you're working on. The devil is in the details, and you pretty much have to experience what I'm talking about. But you also have to know what your goals are. If your goals are to, let's say, improve a pistol squat or something like that, do the supporting movements that will assist you in your pistol squat, and then attempt pistol squat training in the same session. You'll come to find you have a much more smoother control and descent. Okay, lastly, core, lower back, oblique chain, anterior chain, rotary chain. Rotary, we're talking about, doing rotation, sometimes even throwing, rotational pattern, anterior chain, the front of your body, oblique chain, lateral flexion, the obliques, the side of your abs, and the lower back is just the low back. All of the above in kettlebell training improves your whole entire everything, okay? Rotary, anterior, oblique, low back, everything from kettlebells, okay? One of my go-tos, though, are farmer walks, suitcase carries, so you're carrying a kettlebell with one arm. Farmer walk, you're carrying kettlebells with two arms on both sides. Front rack carry, game changer for the lower back, which also assists in pretty much all of your other go-to bodyweight training movements, which I'll get to in a second. And then the one-arm press. One-arm press, yes, it's a shoulder exercise, but man, out of all these exercises here with the kettlebells, you will feel your whole entire everything. You have to become a pillar in order to push that kettlebell above your head. And when the weights get heavier, you will know what it's like for your body to be unified. And that's what kettlebells teach. It teaches your body to work as a whole entire unit. You pretty much have no option, no choice, but to work as a unit. And then now, bodyweight training. Your go-tos really are hanging leg raises. Improves the anterior chain, improves hamstring flexibility through a dynamic range of motion. Ab wheels. When you start getting into the ab wheel, and not just on the knees, I'm talking about standing and other variations, you are working on anterior chain. You're also working on rotary stability. Your body has to fight wobbling from left and right. And you also do train the lower back. And most of the time when rotary stability is involved, so is the oblique chain. Side planks. Side planks are for the oblique chain and lateral flexion. Supermans is for your lower back. These are also known as arch holds in the gymnastic world. And if you're going a bit more advanced, V-sits and L-sits will train your hips and the anterior chain as well. You also get some triceps. These are kind of your go-tos in the bodyweight training world and their variations. Something that kettlebell training helps with it all. So that's a quick talk about the pairing and the focus of your movements. Notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 6 main patterns for calisthenics and go-to core exercises. And we have about swing, we got the Turkish get-up, we got the cleans, we got squats, and we have the one-arm press, which is 5 movements. I did not include the snatch because that is much more technically profound, and dead stop swings and dead stop cleans are just variations of the same exact pattern. So focus on these patterns, okay? You got your 6 for the calisthenic world, and you got your 5 for kettlebells. Whatever your priority is, make sure that that's what's being trained first and foremost, and that your accessory training, of course, supports your goals. I hope this made some sense. I hope I didn't talk too much. And if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. The Temple of Health is where I got all my best written work, from books, programs. All the guessing is out of the game. The thought process for you is just to go in there and do the action. And if you want to do your own personal online training with me, I've got a couple of clients that are seeing some amazing results, and I'd love to work with you. Just shoot me an email at coachsummit@gmail.com or shoot me a DM _summit at Instagram. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.